The Ghost app. I'm not usually one to jump on the latest tech trends, but when the Ghost app hit the market, it was impossible to resist. Developed by some hotshot Silicon Valley startup, it promised to revolutionize how we interacted with the world of the dead. It sounded ridiculous at first, an app that let you see and communicate with ghosts? But when everyone around me started using it, my curiosity got the better of me. I downloaded the app late one Friday night, alone in my apartment. My friends were already hooked, sharing their ghostly encounters on social media. "It's so cool," they said. "You've got to try it." The app's interface was sleek, modern, with an eerie blue glow. A simple toggle turned on the spectral vision, and my phone's camera supposedly showed ghosts lingering around. The promotional video claimed it worked by detecting electromagnetic fields and residual energy left behind by spirits. I laughed as I turned it on, expecting nothing. But then, my laughter died in my throat. In the corner of my living room, the screen revealed a translucent figure. A woman, her eyes hollow, her face etched with sorrow. She wore a dress that looked like it belonged to another century. "Holy shit," I muttered, my heart pounding. I glanced from my phone to the corner, but saw nothing with my naked eye. Only through the screen could I see her. "Hello?" I ventured, feeling ridiculous. "Can you hear me?" The ghost turned, her eyes meeting mine through the screen. My phone vibrated, and a message appeared. "Help me." My blood ran cold. "What do you need?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "Find my killer." I stared at the words, a chill creeping up my spine. This was supposed to be a gimmick, a bit of fun. But now, it felt all too real. I looked back at the screen, but the ghost was gone. I didn't sleep well that night, my mind racing with possibilities. The next morning, I woke to a flurry of notifications. My friends had shared more encounters. Ghosts pleading for help, seeking justice for their deaths. It was becoming clear this app was more than a novelty. Determined to understand what was happening, I started researching the app's origins. The developers were tight-lipped, their identities shrouded in mystery. The app's terms and conditions were pages long, filled with legal jargon and ominous warnings about unintended consequences. I needed answers. I reached out to Clara, a tech-savvy friend who loved a good mystery. We met at a coffee shop downtown, the bustle of the city, a comforting backdrop to the unease gnawing at me. "Clara, you've got to help me figure this out," I said, showing her the app. "This thing is creepy, and not in a fun way." She took my phone, flipping through the app's features.
"Yeah, I've heard about this. People are saying it's legit, but there's no way. It has to be some kind of elaborate AR trick."
"Can you dig into it? Find out who made it, how it works?"
"Sure, but it might take some time. Meanwhile, you should be careful. These things can mess with your head."
Days passed, each one bringing more ghostly encounters. The spirits grew more persistent, their demands more urgent. I started documenting everything, filling notebooks with details of their deaths. They spoke of accidents that weren't accidents, cars that mysteriously lost control, falls that seemed too convenient, poisonings that went undetected. The app's popularity surged, and soon, it wasn't just my friends and me. News outlets picked up the story, and the world became obsessed with the Ghost app. But with the attention came skeptics, debunking videos, and accusations of mass hysteria. Clara called me one evening, her voice tense.
"I found something. Meet me at the old library."
The library was a relic of the past, its grand architecture a stark contrast to the modern skyscrapers surrounding it. Inside, Clara was hunched over a table, her laptop open, surrounded by stacks of old newspapers and legal documents. "What did you find?" I asked, sitting opposite her.
"This app, it's tied to some dark stuff.
She said, her eyes flicking nervously around the room.
The developers? They're linked to a series of unsolved murders. All the victims are the ghosts you've been seeing."
My stomach dropped. "You mean this app was created by murderers?" Clara nodded.
It looks like they're using the app to cover their tracks. By making the ghosts seem like urban legends or tech glitches, they discredit the victims' stories. And the more people use the app, the more it clouds the truth.
I felt a surge of anger. We have to stop this. We need to expose them. We spent the next hours poring over the information, connecting dots that led to a shadowy group of tech moguls with a penchant for the occult. The app was more than a technological marvel. It was a conduit for channeling restless spirits, binding them to this plane to distract from the crimes of their creators. Our plan was risky, but we had no choice. We had to confront the developers, expose them for what they were. Using the app, we tracked the source of the signal to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. It was cliché, but it fit the dark narrative perfectly. The night was cold and still as Clara and I approached the warehouse, our footsteps echoing ominously. The app led us to a hidden basement, where the air was thick with the smell of damp earth and decay. Inside, we found rows of servers and monitors displaying live feeds from users around the world. At the center of the room stood a figure, cloaked in shadow, a sinister smile playing on his lips.
"Welcome,"
he said, his voice cold and mocking.
"I've been expecting you."
"Who are you?" I demanded, trying to keep my voice steady.
"Just a humble creator, giving the world what it craves. Connection, interaction, the truth."
You're using this app to cover up your crimes.
Clara accused.
These ghosts, they're your victims.
He laughed, a sound devoid of humor.
Victims? No, they're volunteers, offering their stories to entertain the living. Isn't that what journalism is all about?
Rage and fear mingled in my chest. We're here to stop you, to expose you.
But the truth is subjective, isn't it?
He gestured to the monitors.
So many voices, so many stories. Who will believe yours?
Before we could react, the screens around us flickered, showing the faces of the ghosts I had encountered. Their expressions were twisted in pain and anger. "Help us!" they cried in unison, their voices echoing in the confined space. The man raised a hand, and a wave of energy surged from the servers, sending us sprawling.
You see, they belong to me, and so will you.
Pain shot through my body as the ghosts reached out, their cold hands grasping at my soul. But then, amidst the chaos, I remembered the app's core function, to connect the living with the dead. Using the last of my strength, I opened the app and started broadcasting live. "This is Daniel Harper," I shouted, hoping someone was watching. "The Ghost app is a trap. It's being used to cover up murders. Help us stop this!" The man's eyes widened in realization.
No.
But it was too late. My phone buzzed with notifications as viewers tuned in, their reactions flooding the screen. The truth was out, and the power of collective belief began to weaken the man's hold. The ghosts rallied, their strength growing as they fed off the viewers' outrage and support. With a final desperate scream, the man was overwhelmed, his form dissolving into the ether. Clara and I staggered to our feet, the basement now silent. The servers were dark, their malevolent energy dissipated.
We did it.
Clara said, her voice trembling with relief. As we emerged from the warehouse, the first rays of dawn breaking over the horizon, I knew our story was far from over. The Ghost app had shown the world a glimpse of the supernatural, but it had also revealed the depths of human cruelty. In the days that followed, the app was taken down, its developers arrested, and their crimes exposed. The ghosts found peace, their stories finally heard and believed. And me? I returned to my life, forever changed by the experience. The Ghost app was gone, but its impact lingered, a reminder of the thin veil between the living and the dead. But every now and then, when I walk past a dark alley or a forgotten building, I can't help but feel a chill, wondering if some remnants of that dark technology still linger, waiting to ensnare the next curious soul.